Hi, mamas. Welcome back to Emotionally Healthy Legacy. My name is Elizabeth, and I am a mom of 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a baby girl. My goal here is to help you reduce stress in your brain so that way you are more patient and calm with your children. I know how hard it is to be patient with your kids, especially when you are running on empty and you're so overwhelmed and stressed out. That's why I really want to teach you ways that you can reduce stress in your brain, reduce stress in your nervous system so that you can be more present and patient with your kids, so then that you can meet their emotional needs and be the mom that you want to be with your children. Hey, welcome back to Emotionally Healthy Legacy. Today is an episode about keeping your big and challenging emotions safe. Okay, we're talking about here mostly anger. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how to keep your anger safe. I don't know about you, but I do get angry, and there's a safe way to keep your anger or unsafe. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about why we get angry and what happens in our brain when we feel angry. Again, I'm going to talk about the brain again because this is so important. Here's our thinking brain in the front, behind our forehead. This is where we make positive logical choices. This is where we problem solve, where we learn. It helps us make choices based on our values, our thinking brain, okay? Behind that is our emotional part of the brain. This is where big emotions start to feel and build up, right? This is when we start feeling agitated, frustrated, annoyed, irritated. This is also when you're super excited and so happy, you literally can't be learning stuff. Let's say when you're in love, you are in your emotional part of the brain, like you can't focus because you're so excited, right? If you're looking forward to something about like a trip or you're excited to go somewhere, like you can't focus in those moments and try to like do something because you're so excited. So that's our feeling brain. It's like our big emotions and feelings live there. Okay. And our survival part of the brain is all the way back in the brain stem. It's like right in the back of your head, in the right where your spine connects to your brain. And that is our fight, flight, or freeze. Okay. When we are emotional and we are in the emotional part of the brain, we use our words to do all the fighting. This is that part of the brain. Emotional part is when we see only our perspective. Things come out in rude tone and disrespectful, but it comes out in words. When we are in our survival part of the brain, it comes out in action. This is when you see a 3-year-old having a full-blown tantrum. This is when they're throwing things. This is when they're completely losing it. They are obviously not thinking in that moment. You're not teaching them ABCs in that moment because you know their brain is incapable of learning anything, right? Their thinking brain is completely shut off. It is all reaction, completely reaction. And obviously, if they're throwing things, that's unsafe. So we need to, before we can teach our kids how to keep their big emotions safe, we need to start with us. And we need to learn how to keep our big emotions safe, okay? One of the things I want to mention about kids, as a reminder, even for myself, kids are very impulsive, and when they are born, the survival part of the brain is fully developed. Then the emotional part and then the thinking brain develops. So they quickly shift from thinking brain to survival part of the brain. So if they're playing with a sibling and their sibling takes their toy, they automatically hit. That is the survival part of the brain. The thinking brain goes into threat. Like they experience a threat that their sibling took their stuff and they go into survival and they hit right away. It's an automatic response. It's reactive. Like you don't have to teach that to a kid. And that's just the way their brain is. So we have to, over time, teach them how to control that and be able to regulate that. But it starts with us, okay? So when I first started this podcast, I focused a little bit more on kids. Now I'm focusing more on the parent. If you want to, you can go back to the earlier episodes. In the very beginning, I talk about the brain too, and I talk more about kids and handling kids. Right now, is shifted to more handling yourself and your big emotions and keeping them safe. And then over time, you can teach that to your kids, okay? So what happens when there's enough stress that builds up in our brain and there's enough frustration that builds up, things are not going our way, there's lots of noise, too much stimulation, we're running behind, our kids are not listening, they spilled milk and they broke the mason jar, the baby crying. That's a lot of stress on your brain in one time. If you're sleep deprived, you're hungry, let's say if you're already kind of like agitated, things were just having a bad day, it all builds up. And we will more than likely get sucked into that because it's too much stress in our brain. If we stay in that stress mode without like taking some space to cool off, it's going to lead to blowing up, okay? So I want to teach you how to keep your big emotions safe. So when we get to anger, we get triggered, something our spouse said, something someone did, somebody said something about us that was super hurtful, like, oh my gosh, I mean, there's a billion examples of things that can cause anger and shift us to anger. We feel out of control about something, that's a huge one. It's huge when we feel out of control, that triggers a lot of us and it will shift us into anger. So I want to talk about healthy ways to release anger. That's kind of what I'm going to focus on today. And one of the things I need you to understand that if you just say, oh, okay, next time I'll just deal with it better, but you don't make a plan how you're going to deal with it better, and you're not going to deal with it better. Next time you're going to repeat your automatic patterns you've been doing for years, okay? You have to come up with a plan, maybe write it down, maybe tell your spouse, maybe tell a friend, maybe journal about it, maybe repeat it in your mind multiple times throughout the day. So then when that situation comes, your brain remembers what to do, okay? Because when we are in stress response, if our thinking brain shuts off and we tend to just repeat the same patterns over and over again, even though we know they're hurtful. Let's say you know screaming is hurtful or physically hurting one of your kids because you are so angry. I've been there. I have been there. I've hurt my kids out of anger. And if you don't have a plan how you will handle the situation better next time, you will just repeat the same pattern. So what do I mean by that? When we are in stress mode, when our brain gets triggered, our thinking brain shuts off, you remember that we go into our automatic brain, automatic responses. And if your automatic is to scream, if your automatic is to hit, to throw, whatever, like you're just going to tend to that. So I want to teach you healthy ways to handle your anger. It is important to recognize what you feel. It is important to label what you feel, why you feel it, and it's important to release that emotion, okay? So there's two major ways to release anger. There's kind of like an emotional way to release anger, and then there's more like a physical way to release anger. I tend to go onto the emotional part of way releasing anger. That's just how I deal with anger. Some people, there have been times in my life where I needed physical, but it was really, really rare. And it was like big things, okay? So here's some physical examples, a physical way to release your anger. If you can walk away, go for a drive. Maybe you can go into the woods or something like that on a trail, scream, throw rocks into the water, yell into a pillow, throw the pillow on the floor, stomp on it, push a wall. I've had a time in my life where I had designated old glass containers, old dishes, and I had a spot in the garage, like a kid's mini pool, that I got to throw the dishes in there and break them. When I went through a miscarriage, I talk about that. I think it's episode 4 when I talked about my miscarriage. Part of a grieving process is anger. And for me, if it was physical at that point. So instead of doing hurtful things to my family members, I can physically release it in a healthy way. Okay. So I was like throwing some dishes and breaking them. You can go for a run. You can do some HIIT training. You can, if you have a punching bag, or you can go to the gym and punch a bag, or with your legs or with your hands. I do this with my kids, ripping paper, crumpling the paper, throwing the paper, having some soft toys or like stuffed toys that you can throw on the wall. So you can throw some darts on the wall, something that will get your like physical. You can just stomp the floor and just, hey mama, if you are enjoying listening to my podcast, then I have exciting news for you. I have been working on a one-on-one coaching program that is specifically designed for moms who feel constantly overwhelmed and stressed, and they find themselves in reactive mode all day long. If your baseline is constantly overwhelmed, frustrated, agitated, annoyed, you're reacting and snappy, and you just hate the kind of mom that you are to your children, and you know this is not the motherhood that you are meant for. You know that your kids deserve better, and you know that you want to be better, but you just don't even know where to start. I have created a one-on-one coaching program for moms where we get to learn and go deep and figure out the root issue of your overwhelm and stress and how to address it. Proactive strategies that we can come up with that will help you move your baseline to calm and patient and grounded. And so your tolerance level for everything else that is not going your way is going to be much higher throughout the day. In the show notes below, you can schedule a call with me and we can learn about your situation and your goals and see if we are a good fit to work together. I'd love to hear from you. But there are healthy ways to release it without. So healthy, what I mean by that, you're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting anyone else, and you're not hurting anything. Okay? Not destroying anything. Those are healthy ways to release anger out of your body. You've seen a toddler when, like, let's say you set a limit and they are not liking that limit. They go into threat mode and they throw a tantrum and they physically kick and scream. And once that wave of that emotion passes, they're like all better. It's like they're a whole new kid, right? They got it out of their system, okay? Instead of hurting someone, there is a healthy way of getting it out of your body, that anger, and releasing it, okay? I tend to be more on the emotional part of the anger, and in the sense of I need emotional kind of release. What I mean by that, I need to vent. I need to talk about it. I need to like emotionally vomit what I want to say. Sometimes it depends what the situation is. I need to cry about it. Crying is another healthy way of releasing anger. Sometimes I vent to my husband, depending if it has anything to do with him or not. Sometimes I vent to my mom. I need to label what I feel and why I feel it. I feel so angry. I feel so furious this happened because it made me feel this way. It made me feel like I don't matter. Or whatever it is, like labeling your emotions is so, so important. It helps your brain process them and release them, okay? Praying to God. I mean, like I'm a Christian and I'm a believer, so I don't talk a lot about like the Christianity aspect of everything here on my podcast, but it's definitely a huge part of my life. And like God is a huge part of my life. And I believe that everything is easier with God. And so I do pray with God on a regular basis. So if I'm going through something hard and I'm so angry and so upset about something, I definitely pray. And I'm like, God, I'm just so angry this happened. I don't know why this happened. I'm just so upset. This is so unfair. Why did you let this happen? And like, God knows what you feel already, right? You're just telling it to him. And so I will vent and cry to God. Okay. And then the other way I release my emotions, like emotionally, the emotional way of releasing them or the mental way of releasing those emotions is journaling. I've mentioned this here before many times. I journal a lot. And it's like, I feel this way because this person did this or said this, because I'm triggered, because I'm upset, because I'm overwhelmed, whatever. Like, I just literally get it all on paper. It's a safe place. The journal is not going to talk back to you, say anything mean. The journal is very understanding. And it's like, it's a safe way, right? It's a safe way to actually process and release those emotions so they're not building up inside of you. Because if we just kind of stuff it over time, it's going to come out in our just overall attitude. We're just going to be very negative. We're going to be very unpleasant to be around. It's going to cause a bunch of health issues. Your body keeps the score. So it is really important to get those feelings out. And remember, there's nothing wrong with feeling anger. Biblically, it's not wrong. God felt anger. Jesus felt anger. We're allowed to feel anger. The point is to keep it safe and not to say or do hurtful things when you are angry. Sometimes it's communicating and be like, hey, I feel really angry right now. I'm so upset. I don't want to do or hurtful things to you, so I need to take some time for myself and get that anger out. And you communicate that and you walk away. You can do some push-ups. You can whatever. You need some jumping jacks. You can punch the air. These are just some ideas. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Pick one that helps you. But this is just what I do. I don't do the physical one much because I don't get physically as hurtful. Though sometimes definitely with kids, I get triggered enough. I want to physically hurt them and I literally have to walk away. I'd be like, I am about to hurt you and I don't want to do that. And so I am going to take a break and cool off and come back. And I've had to communicate it with my kids. Sometimes I still would do hurtful things and then you have to own it and apologize, say what you will do differently next time, ask for forgiveness, pray together, however you deal with it in your family. But I'm not perfect. I mess up. I don't always keep my emotions safe, but knowing what you do, being aware and having a plan what you will do, that's what's important. So next time, when I feel angry and I want to hurt my husband or my kids, or I want to do something hurtful, then I will blank. What are you going to do? You need to have a plan. Then I will go into my room and I will punch the air. I will punch the pillow. I will throw the pillow. We all have a bunch of random papers in the house. I will rip paper. I will crumple it. I will throw it. I will stomp the floor. What is it for you? What are you going to do to release that anger? For me, it's journaling. Journaling is huge for me. It's tremendous, super helpful. But I know this is not for everyone. So what are you going to do? Okay. So here are some ideas of keeping your anger safe. The thing is, when we are in our survival part of the brain, our thinking brain is completely shut off, and we will say hurtful things. We do hurtful things. And if we don't have a plan how we will handle when we are in that position, we will create damage. We all know. We hear stories on the news all the time. People freaking kill out of anger. They do. Why? Because they've never were taught how to regulate those big emotions, how to release them. And typically if I'm super angry, I'll journal, I'll vent, and then I need to do something that calms my nervous system down. Is it breathing? Is it visualizing? Is it just, coloring? Is it exercising, doing a puzzle? Whatever it is to kind of calm your nervous system down, listening to music, taking a bath. Those are just healthy ways to release that frustration, that anger that builds up. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you found that helpful. And if this is helpful for you, please share this with another mom. Please share this episode with another mom that that maybe struggles with anger, and maybe she does hurtful things. Maybe she says hurtful things. This message needs to get out there. Oftentimes we know it's wrong. We know it's hurtful. We just don't know what to do instead. We know we shouldn't do those things that are hurtful, but we don't know another way because we were not taught another way or modeled another way. Okay? So please share this episode. I would really, really appreciate it. And you know what? Also, if you're listening on an iPhone, if you could go in the podcast app, and just rate this podcast, I would really appreciate it. If you find it helpful and if you really like it, leave a comment how much you like it, and just leave a 5-star review. I would love to see that. And either way, I'm so glad that you're here, and I hope you have a wonderful day, Mama. Thank you so much for joining in and listening to today's episode. I would really appreciate if you would share this episode with another mom that you know would really benefit from it. It helps any way that you can share this and spread the word and spread this message. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, sweet mama.